Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. Today I wanted to talk about the importance of knowing thyself and why it is important to know who you are at soul level. So I've always been fascinated in understanding things like my astrology chart, gene keys, and reading the soul blueprint within the Akashic Records. This has always been a passion of mine ever since I went through my spiritual awakening 6 years ago. And I have really found that the clarity that I've gotten through understanding my soul blueprint, through understanding the avatar and the archetypes that I came here to play, by understanding these things, it helps me to show up authentically and to not shame myself. And I really think it's boosted my self-esteem a lot as well, because oftentimes when we don't fit the mainstream narrative, the mainstream mold, which is sort of just kind of like one or a few different states of being, like the hustler or the hard worker or, that stuff. And when we don't fit into those molds, we tend to shame ourselves and we think there's something wrong with us and we wonder, why aren't I like everyone else? But I've really realized that we all are unique at our core. However, we can express basically like 8 predominant qualities of energy, or you could go even deeper and say that there are 64 general archetypes that run through our DNA. And that's what the Gene Keys teachings teaches, this 64 archetypes. But also the Akashic Records modality that I use teaches that there are 8 qualities of energy that we all express, different to different varying degrees. So I'll give an example. So I'm a talker. I always have been, or actually I will say I have not always been, but since my awakening, I've always loved talking through my issues, talking about what I'm learning, and I love learning things through YouTube videos, through classes, through teachings. And I always shamed myself because of my love for knowledge and because I talked so much. And then I discovered my soul blueprint within the Akashic Records, and I realized that I predominantly express energy through the 5th energy center, which this can also correlate to the 5th chakra, which is the throat chakra, although it is not a chakra. It is just a quality of energy that we can be designed to express. So I found out that I express energy through the 5th energy center, which is all about authenticity, communication, speaking, and learning. Words have substance to souls who have a 5th energy center, and that is 100% me. I love words. I love poetry. I love documentaries and learning and reading and attending classes. And for a while, I shamed this about myself, and I thought that it was something that was wrong with me that had to be changed. But when I discovered my soul blueprint and realized that this is my gift and this is how I express energy, it gave me a permission slip to be myself and to no longer force myself to fit into the molds and the boxes that were around me that felt like it was the only option. And when we do awaken to our true nature and really tune into who we are at our core, magical things can happen, because we realize that oftentimes a lot of our negative self-talk and our negative self-images are going against who we are meant to be, and it's because we're trying to fit a standard, or we're people pleasing, or we're trying to get somewhere that is not really authentic for us, that is really fueled by the mind and logic and getting somewhere. And so when we do, tune in to who we are at our core and honor our uniqueness and honor how energy naturally flows through us, we can actually create our lives with much more ease and flow, and also more joy, because we're being who we came here to be, and we're expressing our true self. Because another aspect of this, I do really believe that this can be situational and conditional. However, when we're experiencing anxiety and resistance and a lot of negative emotions, it's because we're out of alignment with our true nature and we're forcing ourselves to do something that is not congruent with our nature and is not in alignment with our soul. And you hear this a lot in the manifesting community and with things like the law of attraction, that you have to get into alignment in order to attract what you want. And that has to do with honoring how you uniquely show up. So you may be a soul who has a second energy center. And people with this energy center express their life force through needing a variety of different experiences and through adventure, through connecting with nature and taking risks. So people with the second energy center will do things like go skydiving and can't stay in one place and will seem very flighty, but it's because they experience their divinity, their true self, and they express their life force energy through a variety of different experiences. It's not because they're ungrounded or they're flighty, it's just who they are. And then another example would be if you feel like you always need to be in relationship with someone, not necessarily romantic, but you very much thrive when you're in a family or you're part of a group, or when you're able to tend to people's needs and nurture and working in healthcare and stuff. That usually resonates with the fourth energy center, which can also resonate with the heart chakra. And souls with the fourth energy center have a very, very hard time going it alone. And when they feel alone and outcast and isolated, and even when they go through breakups, they can really experience a lot of just anxiety and depression and a lack of life force energy, because how they are designed by source to show up and create and express energy is through relating to people. And so to tie back to my original example with myself, how I express energy and express my life force and how spirit flows through me is through speaking and through communicating, whether that's writing, whether that's physically, verbally speaking, or whether that's learning and taking in what other people are speaking and teaching. And when I quiet myself and when I tell myself that, my wisdom isn't valued, or if I'm in environments where my wisdom is not valued and where the truth makes people uncomfortable, I actually self-destruct in a way. Not that serious, but I'll notice that my energy is depleted. I experience more anxiety. I want to smoke more weed to numb myself, because the environments and the ways that I'm operating is not in alignment with my true nature. So spirit and energy cannot flow through me. I'm just kind of cut off from source. And another aspect of this would be things like astrology. So when you understand your astrology chart and when you know things like your Mercury sign, for example, that's how you communicate. I guess I'm talking a lot about communication and how, your mind works and how you think and how you process things. Or, your moon sign is how you relate to your mother and your home life and that stuff. And when we understand these bodies of knowledge like astrology and like gene keys, it further confirms who we are and helps us to better show up and express ourselves truthfully and authentically. Because when you learn these things, they very much resonate with your inner being. Like when I learned, for example, I was vegan for a while, and I feel like this was part of my path to really cleanse out my body. I was in an accident a few years ago, so I had a lot of toxins and just medicines and drugs and all that built up in my body. So I feel like going on an elimination diet like veganism very much served a purpose for me for a while. But I created a belief that the only way I could be spiritual was if I was vegan. And obviously we know this is not true. I learned this myself, and what really activated this new knowing that I didn't have to be vegan in order to be spiritual was I was looking into my astrology chart. And I forget what transit it was, but I was reading it, and it said that this transit within me, I feel like it was like Neptune or Uranus, one of those like random planets, that I can tend to be more of a foodie. I had looked up my birth chart in this app called Time Passages. It's free. I highly recommend it. I'm not sponsored by them, but it's just like the app I use for the astrology readings I do for others and for myself. And so as I was reading this transit in this app, it mentioned how I am a foodie at heart and that I receive a lot of pleasure through sensual foods. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think it was my Venus sign, my Venus in Leo. So that showed me like, wow, I have literally been cutting myself off from my divine nature and from who I am and how I'm meant to be showing up in life, because I created this belief in my mind that the only way I can get what I think is going to make me happy is through being vegan and through doing something that isn't actually full term aligned with me. Now, I will still go days where I'll only eat vegetables, or I'll really like minimize the animal products that I take in. And I do try to be mindful about like the meats that I do eat, because I do believe that there's a lot of suffering and hormones and toxic energy in a lot of today's meats in America. So I try to be mindful, but learning this about myself, that there was a reason why I was struggling so much to stick to this diet, and why, even though I thought it was going to make me happy, it wasn't, and it was creating more resistance. So I really, really have seen personally the value in knowing thyself and knowing yourself and who you are at soul level, because it helps you to know what's actually good for you and what aligns for you and what possible paths and activities and lifestyles will best align with you and your energetic nature. And when we're able to discern and know who we are, we just can better choose what's right for us. And we can say no when we need to, which saying no can often align us with our energy centers and who we are and who we desire to be and show up as in this human experience. And that sounds weird, like, oh, saying no, it cuts you off, but saying no to the right things is saying yes to what's meant for you. If you say no to what's not meant for you, you're saying yes to what is meant for you. It's kind of what I was trying to get at. So knowing yourself helps you to choose what's best for you and helps you to be more confident in yourself as you tread your own path and as you disconnect from the beaten path. Because the beaten path is just one mainstream baseline reality. It's just one reality. It's not all there is. And when you know who you are at soul level and know how you align with energy and what works for you, you can step off of that path and you can better discern other paths. Sorry, I'm filming a video. We got a live audience over here. So when you know yourself, you can choose what's right for yourself. And so this is one of my biggest passions, and it really is my life's work. And what I'm really channeling my energy into right now is helping other people to know who they are at soul level, to know who they are at their core and what their true divine nature is, so that they can awaken their authenticity and step into a more stable and confident and clear version of themselves. Because I feel like so many of us are confused about who we are, what's right for us, what really works for us, what's the best choice, what's the best option. And when you know who you are, how your energy works, and how to make choices that are in alignment with you, it eases that confusion. And I do believe that this is an ongoing, unfolding journey, that it's not like you just, oh, now I know who I are, who I are. Now I know who I am. Here we go. No more confusion. I feel like it is like a journey unfolding, and that we don't want to overload ourselves, and we can't fully digest an entire birth chart or an entire soul blueprint or gene keys profile in just one sitting. And so that's why I created my new mentorship program called Awakening Authenticity. It is a 9-week program that guides you into knowing thyself and understanding what your divine nature is. So I am a certified soul realignment practitioner, which is an Akashic Records reading modality that allows me to access your soul's blueprint within the Akashic Records to channel past lives on other planets, what your soul's origins are. So this is a lot of the starseed stuff, and souls who resonate with being from another world, journeying to Earth at this time of expansion and change and awakening. So it will tell you your soul's origins. And a few past lives usually come through on other worlds or in the earthly plane. And also how you express energy. So this is those energy centers I was talking about, and what qualities of energy you are naturally designed to express, and how that flows through you. And in addition, you also learn within this Akashic Records portion what karmic patterns are currently blocking you from fully aligning with your divine nature. So this can be thought forms, this can be constraints and unhealthy connections with other souls, cords and hooks and stuff like that, and so much more. So much more. And in addition to that, so we start with that in my program. I'm kind of like, I went a little off topic there, so I'm bringing it back. So we start with that, and then we go into connecting you with your inner child and what you were passionate about when you were younger. Because I've seen that as a kid, all the movies, TV shows, music, everything that I resonated with when I was unconscious is so very significant and plays a role in my purpose today. So, for example, as a kid, I loved movies like Fern Gully and like the Pussycat Doll, or no, the Pussycat Dolls, Josie and the Pussycats, where there's some very like almost conspiratorial, but very deep and truthful themes within those movies. And my favorite show was Ancient Aliens. And now to this day, I spend my time researching ancient civilizations and connecting the dots between all of these theories that are presented on Ancient Aliens. So we look to our childhood to really look for clues as to what our passions are, because our passions are what guides us towards our purpose. And I really believe that our purpose is seated within our heart, and it's honestly usually blocked by challenges and the layers that we kind of layer over our true self trying to conform. We'll clear those layers of illusion so that you can fully express yourself, and so that you can tune into those passions unapologetically. Stuttering a little bit. And so then we go into that, and then after that we'll go over your astrology birth chart. Briefly, we'll go over your sun sign, moon sign, rising sign, and all of the other planetary transits within your birth chart over a few sessions, because it is 9 weeks of 1-hour calls every week. And so yeah, we'll go over your astrology birth chart so you can understand what avatar you chose to come here and play during this lifetime. And then we'll end off with your Gene Keys profile, which is an amazing body of work. If you have never heard of the Gene Keys, I highly recommend going and looking up your free Gene Keys profile on genekeys.com. And I think that the Gene Keys book by Richard Rudd, the original Gene Keys book, is the most life-changing spiritual companion for life. It is the most valuable book that I've ever read. And if I were to put one thing in a time capsule for future generations to open, it would be that book. I think that book has created the most impact in my life. Even as I read it, I can see and feel the energy in my environment changing, because it just explains things in such a true and clear way that's so aligned with divine truth. So the Gene Keys book, highly recommend. And so yeah, we end off my program, the Awakening Authenticity program, briefly going over your Gene Keys chart. And then we wrap it all up by answering any questions you have. And of course, through the whole program, I am an open book and I am here to answer any questions you may have. But the overall intention of the program is to guide you into fully knowing yourself by going over all of these 3 different modalities. Or 4, I guess you could say, because inner child, healing, and connection is a modality in and of itself. And if you are not interested in such a long, in-depth program, my signature offering is my soul reading. And this is a 20-page plus. They've been getting to be more like 30 pages recently of channeled information of me tuning into your soul's blueprint within the Akashic Records to channel forth your starseed origins, how you express and create energy through your energy centers, and what qualities of energy you're designed to create, and then where you're at in your spiritual journey, what areas of life you may be challenged in. This last aspect of the reading is called your soul vibration rate. And pretty much as you go on your journey of awakening, your soul's vibration raises, and thus your focus of life changes. So when you're in the beginning of your awakening, your focus is primarily on understanding that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. And as you raise your vibration and progress on your awakening path, you'll step up into states of being like taking more responsibility for your life, or researching and discovering the truth behind the illusions and individuating. And then you can also get to points where you're ready to fully take responsibility for your incarnation, especially in the areas of purposeful work and how you make a living. And that's the majority of where the majority of my clients are, is usually when we're getting ready to detach from the matrix, move on from any jobs that we may feel are stifling our authenticity or kind of holding back our true potential. Moving on from that and stepping into a soul-led, purposeful work career. And that is my passion, is helping people to really disentangle from doing things they think they have to doing the things that they really want to do and actually making money from it and supporting themselves from it. So that's my signature soul reading. If you'd like more information, I'm going to link links to my website. I'm sending you so much love on this journey of knowing yourself, and I'm looking forward to possibly working with you if you're interested in a little guidance or direction or soul level information about yourself. So much love, and namaste.